Yeah, I would like to welcome everyone to this very special evening with the artist Dayanita Singh from New Delhi and the publisher Gerhard Steidl from Göttingen. Dayanita Singh became famous especially through her carefully designed artists' books, which she conceives as portable museums, like this one. She sees herself as a bookmaker working with photography. 10 years ago, she found a congenial partner in Gerhard Steidl, with whom she constantly develops new forms of artist books. With Gerhard Steidl, each and every book is book art.
This is just telling what we are doing when you are there and how we create a book. Das Ritual ist eigentlich immer gleich. Wenn jemand zu mir nach Göttingen kommt, geht er durch das Treppenhaus nach oben. Wenn ich dann Zeit habe, gehe ich oben in die Bibliothek und sage, guten Tag, Dayanita, wie geht's? Und was ist die Vision von dem Buch, das wir zusammen machen wollen? Dayanita erklärt mir dann, was sie für eine Idee und für eine Vorstellung hat. Und dann fangen wir an, ganz altmodisch auf dem großen Tisch oben in der Bibliothek Fotos auszulegen. Die Scans werden in eine Reihenfolge gebracht. Das nennt man editieren oder eine Sequenz machen.
I'm glad you spoke about editing and sequencing, because that is really what is the main thing in photography for me now. It's not really about making photographs, but it's what form one gives those photographs through the editing and the sequencing.
Das wird zigmal hin und her geschoben und dann ist es auch schon Abend und die Fotos bleiben auf dem Tisch liegen und am Morgen stehen wir wieder an dem Tisch und dann werden diese Fotos mit einem Klebestift auf Papier gebracht.
So we still make the dummy by hand, cutting and pasting, cutting and pasting.
Und zu einem Buchgestalter gegeben, der bei uns im Haus ist, und das Buch wird mit einem Designprogramm aufgebaut. Schriften kommen hinzu und dann bestehe ich wieder darauf, dass Ausdrucke gemacht werden, die zu einem Buchdummy zusammengeklebt werden, um Buchseiten zu blättern. Und man muss dann auch überprüfen, ob die Buchgestaltung auf Papier funktioniert. Wenn es dann soweit ist, ist der nächste Schritt, dass wir Andrucke machen. Dann merkt man schon, welches Papier ist für dieses Projekt das geeignete.
But what is also amazing is that next to the printing house is the Half-Tone Hotel. The story is that Gerhard made these apartments so that his artists would not be sitting in some beer and drinking when he needed them at press. So if he calls me at 5 in the morning and says, Singh, come down to press, one day I'm going to go down completely naked and he will not notice, because we just have to check the papers and make sure that all the prints are right.
Wenn wir dann das richtige Papier ausgewählt haben, es ist eigentlich dann schon wieder fast Zeit, dass der Künstler, die Künstlerin abreißt.
I love the quality of offset. I love the smell of offset. I love to feel the offset.
Bei einer guten Buchgestaltung wird man wachgehalten und am Ende, wenn man das Buch zuschlägt, dann möchte man am liebsten, dass es noch nicht zu Ende ist und dass es endlos weitergeht.
I think I knew from the start that the book is really how I like to look at a photograph. I like to be able to hold something in my hands. And the gallery world always sort of made the work fixed to the wall, and that always made me uncomfortable. So for me, the heart of my work was the book, and the exhibition became the catalogue. Sent a Letter, if I could have the box, was a project I had been working on since 2000, making books for friends who I traveled with as a way to say thank you. So when I went with Gerhard and Grass to Calcutta, I made this book for Gerhard and I showed it to him in Fritz Street Gallery, where I had a secret exhibition going on of these little books while my main exhibition was downstairs in the gallery, empty spaces. And I tried to auction it to Gerhard and to ask how much money he would pay for it. And he said, we publish it.
Let's stay for a moment with Send a Letter, Dayanita. There is one little book in this box dedicated to a very special friend, which is your mom, Noni Singh.
I have quite an eccentric mother, and I think her obsession was to make albums. So she continuously photographed us, not as me, but because she had dressed me in a certain way. And each child had an album, and albums were continuously made. So I grew up in a house with albums. So that's what seemed to me the only way to use photographs, was to make albums and then to make books. So it seemed very natural to me. But when Gerhard said we make these 7 books, I had just made my mother a little book like that of her photographs. And I was quite embarrassed with the similarities in the way we photograph, that we photograph a lot of women. She didn't photograph men, so I insisted on putting pictures of men because I thought I can't be like my mother. So while there was a lot of similarities with the mother, there was a lot of, I don't want to be like her, I'll photograph machines, I'll photograph empty spaces. So she works positively and negatively. And she wrote on my Facebook page and then put up some really terrible photograph, because now she likes to try to photograph like me. So it's a bit convoluted now. So she's no longer a good photographer. Yes, I think she was a very good photographer, very fine photographer. But also because she photographed for herself and for the album. And I think that makes a different kind of relationship with your photography. And I think the great history of photography in India certainly is in the family album, and most often made by the woman. I'm not a feminist, not trying to make anything like that, but the women are the great historians of our country.
Dayanita Singh, I think your work really invites people to invent stories around these images, invent interpretations. And I want to ask you if you've ever been surprised or even shocked by an interpretation that someone told you of your own work.
I enjoy that. So in all these structures, or in this book, Museum of Chance, I just give you a lot of clues. But the story is for you to invent. I don't like photographs that spoon feed you and tell you what to see and what to think. So I like very much both in making the image, but also in building up the narrative in the book to give you enough scope to really go quite wild with your imagination. And I'm constantly surprised, and thank God for that. And the day I'm not surprised will be the day to stop.
Thank you.